Point Blank offers gift cards too. See shootpointblank.com for details.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Tomorrow's the day, the historic day. It only has happened twice in history. How tomorrow's vote to impeach President Trump is going to play out today. The House Judiciary is, setting the table, enacting rules of how tomorrow is going to be conducted. Chuck Schumer over there, the senator, he wants 4 witnesses called.
The 4 witnesses we propose have direct knowledge of why the aid to Ukraine was delayed. We don't know what kind of evidence they will present. They might present exculpatory evidence that helps President Trump. It may be incriminating against the president, but they should be heard.
And some say, Bruce, that the House shouldn't send impeachment to the Senate if no fair trial. And Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham have both made it clear that I don't think that they're interested in that.
Everything I do during this, I'm coordinating with White House counsel.
I am trying to give a pretty clear signal. I have made up my mind. I'm not
I wasn't in any doubt.
To be a fair juror here.
I want to end it. I don't want to legitimize it. I hate what they're doing.
With more on this and tomorrow's big day, let's welcome to the program Adam Kennedy. He's Deputy Assistant to the President and Deputy Director of White House Communications. Good morning, Mr. Kennedy. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me on.
So what do you think about these 4 witnesses, Bolton, Mulvaney, that Chuck Schumer wants to have testify before the Senate trial?
Well, we're prepared for anything that may happen in the Senate, but let's be clear. What Schumer is essentially saying is that the House wasn't able to do their job and actually run an investigation. Now he wants to redo the investigation in the Senate. That's what he means when he says he wants 4 new witnesses. Now, I think we've seen enough of this. I think the American people have seen enough of this sham impeachment, and it's time we wrap this up, not continue to extend it out for as long as the Democrats want.
Now, there is an ABC News poll out that says, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think it's 64% of Republicans and 72% of independents would like to see those witnesses. What do you have to say to that?
Well, I think it's understandable, but I don't think the president has anything to hide. I think the president actually has been the most transparent part of this entire process. He's the one who released 2 transcripts and released the whistleblower complaint. It's the Democrats who hid their ties to the whistleblower. It's the Democrats who have refused to let Adam Schiff testify about his involvement at the very start of this. It's the Democrats who held secret hearings. The president has been completely transparent, and now what they're trying to do is abuse that and try to say everybody in the administration that we want to call up to try to embarrass the president, we should be able to call up. Well, I'm sorry, but they've had over 2 months of investigations into this. It's time to end this. It's time to go to the Senate. It's time to have a vote.
Well, ultimately, it's up to 51 senators to decide who the witnesses are. And so that could mean there could be votes on the floor of the Senate to compel witnesses to come forward. 47 Democrats, though, need to get 4 Republicans to break ranks in order to vote to get those witnesses to come forward. Are all the Republicans, are they standing, firm together as one group?
We hope that all Republicans in the Senate realize what exactly this is, what a sham this process has been, and what the Democrats are trying to do now in the Senate, which is really just relitigate this whole thing again. I mean, how little evidence could be produced in the House for the Senate to say, okay, well, now we got to do our own investigation. I mean, that's essentially admitting that Schiff and Nadler and all didn't do their job.
So the Democrats say that they're not whipping. Are the Republican senators whipping?
Are the Republican senators whipping? I'm sure McConnell's in constant conversation with Republicans in the Senate, as we've been in conversation with some Republicans in the Senate. But at the end of the day, I think all Republicans realize what a waste of time this has been and what a waste of taxpayer resources this has been.
So the Democrats had one bite at the apple. Well, actually, it started with trying to overturn the Electoral College. We could go back to that. But then there were emoluments and whatever else. But they had the Russian collusion, and which was done unfairly in a reprehensible manner, of course, as we find out with the IG report last week. And now, of course, not actually going through due process in the House. Well, how about one more shot in the Senate right here? How about just bring those witnesses in? You say the president doesn't have anything to hide? Let's hear Bolton and Mulvaney testify.
Well, let's be clear. What they've been trying to do from the very beginning is overturn 2016. The Democrats have never accepted the 2016 election. They said so at the time, and they're saying so now. Nancy Pelosi said this is 2.5 years in the making. They cannot be clearer about what they're trying to achieve here, which is overturning the will of the American people. Now, in terms of bringing in administration officials, former or current, they could ask them any question they want. They're going to use this as a platform to try to embarrass the president, not necessarily to prove any impeachment, because there's nothing to prove.
How is President Trump holding up through all of this? I mean, it's certainly not a group he wants to be a part of, being, an impeached president.
Well, I think he's seen for so long just how vicious the Democrats have been against him. And I think what we've seen, and he's been very public about this, is that he's standing strong against them. I think it was very clear from the moment at the UN General Assembly when he stood with the Ukrainian president that he was telling the world he was going to fight this because he didn't do anything wrong. And he has maintained that position the entire time, and he will continue to.
All right, let's switch to Comey right now. I let you off the hook on that one. I want to tell you that, Mr. Kennedy, because I know you're fighting a cold.
What? I know. Do you have a cold?
It's fine. It's fine. So Comey, how badly? This is a softball question. How badly did he screw himself into the ground when he talked to Chris Wallace on Sunday?
Well, I think he admitted what every American knows at this point, which is that the FISA application was done horribly and that his attempts to defend it were shoddy at best and in some cases might be outright lies. And I think he recognizes that and recognizes the peril he may be in.
But he tried to distance himself by saying he was like 7 layers above the whole thing, even though it was only an investigation into Russian collusion. And what would he be involved in if not that?
He was the person in charge of the FBI at the time. The buck stops with him. He can in no way distance himself from this. This is a major marquee investigation by the FBI. The idea that he could somehow create distance is laughable.
And then he said too that it's difficult to get a FISA warrant. I don't think so. Do you? I mean, the guests that we've had on the past week, they said it's very easy to get a FISA warrant.
Well, if the application against the campaign is any indication, it appears they could just make stuff up.
Oh my God! But they didn't end up tapping President Trump's phone line at the Trump Tower, but yet they made Carter Page's life hell.
Well, they ruined people's lives. They abused the information they had. They misled and hid information that they had. I mean, this was obviously a targeted practice. That's what the IG report showed, was that they had a set objective at the end of this, and they tried to achieve it.
What I love is that our own senator, as I like to call him, Sack of Durban, even he, on one of the Sunday shows, said a disservice had been done to Carter Page. Now, of course, he said, well, we need bipartisan. We've been talking about this for years, the abuse of the FISA process. Yeah, you know what, Senator Durbin? I don't think you were siding with Devin Nunes, over the last couple of years while Adam Schiff was libeling him. I love the squirreliness of politicians. I could never be one. I'm too honest, Mr. Kennedy.
Well, I think it's clear that there's now irrefutable proof that the FISA process is broken, that the FISA process can be easily abused by people who want to achieve a predetermined outcome, and that's exactly what they tried to do with the Trump campaign.
Now, where's President Trump going to be tomorrow when this historic vote is taken on the House floor? Is he going to be watching?
The president's traveling to a campaign stop over in Michigan because he wants to be with the American people. He understands that the Democrats have an axe to grind, have been having this axe to grind for 2.5 years, but he wants to make sure the American people see him and see the accomplishments that he's done.
Now, I don't know if you heard or saw Carly Fiorina's interview with Poppy Harlow, but basically she thinks that President Trump should be impeached, but yet she's going to vote for him in 2020. Has he responded to her interview?
I don't think he's responded yet, and I don't want to get ahead of the president. But I think what's clear is that anybody who wants the president to continue to fulfill what he has promised the American people has seen really historic changes in this country and will continue to see historic changes when he wins next year.
All right, I have no further questions.
Oh my
we'll let the witness off. I have the right to recall Mr. Kennedy at a later date. Okay.
Yes.
I may have some follow-up later. Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us again, Adam Kennedy. We hope you feel better too. We noticed you have a little bit of a cold. It's all right. It's going around here too. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. Deputy Assistant to the President and Deputy Director of White House Communications, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
You stink.
I think you're going to have a good Christmas, all right?
You smell like beef and cheese. You don't smell like Santa.
On AM 560. The Answer.
Want your home's furnace to stay safe and reliable? And want to prevent any potential problems before they happen? At your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, we recommend an annual furnace inspection and tune-up. Right now, get big savings on a furnace tune-up. Call 855-1-HOUR. Because not taking care of your furnace, that's just cold.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
On December 25th,
They convicted an innocent man.
Michael B. Jordan.
Your life is still meaningful, and I'm gonna do everything possible to keep them from taking it.
Academy Award winner Jamie Foxx.
You don't know what it is down here when you're guilty from the moment you're born.
And Academy Award winner Brie Larson.
I don't want my son growing up knowing that his mom stopped doing what was right just because she was scared.
You ain't quitting, is you?
No, sir.
Just Mercy, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13. Select theaters December 25th. Everywhere January 10th. Directed by Destin Daniel Cretton.
Hey, I have a great idea. Christmas stocking stuffer. Something that's healthy, something that will help someone in 2020, and that's Balance of Nature. If you take just 6 capsules of Balance of Nature a day, you're getting 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies. Why is it important? Well, admit it, you're not getting enough fruits and vegetables. Fruit cake, my folks, my friends, doesn't count. And all the